morning, Tartaria hunters. Here we are for another awesome, surprising podcast with Cambell from Autodidactic. Good day, Cambell. I seem to be seeing you every day at the moment. We're having quite an affair here with the Tartarian Australian channel.
Yeah, it's a full-time job, this hunting crystal cities and revealing the past.
I know, it's really
full-time.
And Angela, one of our amazing, what can I say, random guests that have popped up out of the ether to come and share some of your personal information and how you've wired and fired around this topic and led you to this moment in time. And we're about to have an organic, surprising conversation here. So welcome to the show, Angela.
Thank you very much. It's lovely to be here, guys.
Awesome.
Lovely to meet you.
One of our things here with the Tartarian stuff with Cambell and I is that we just love speaking to our community, all the pieces of the puzzle. We all hold one of those pieces within our hearts and heads, and our life experiences have led us to these moments, and to bring everyone together and to add to these lofty ideas is just so powerful when we connect as a community. So thanks for stepping up and making contact and joining us.
Thank you. And I totally agree with that, by the way. We've all got keys.
Absolutely. It's so the Celestine prophecies, they were hunting for keys and missing documents. And we are, of course, on our personal quest to this crystal city in the desert. And it's really opened up everyone's heart and imagination. So with that all said, we'll just hand you over to introduce yourself and start wherever you start.
Okay, well, I'll probably start a little bit about my awakening process, because I think that's when it all kicked off for me. So, and how that came about. So I was always spiritual. I was always spiritual. I was a little bit kind of left field, but it was never very physical for me. It was always in the mind, and I would say probably 20 years ago now, I started literally in a day, I was bombarded with 1111. So, but it wasn't just once or twice a day. It was shadows on my wall. It was turning my TV on. They'd be talking about it. It was 3 number plates behind me. And at that time, I would, I think after about 2 weeks, I was kind of going home and saying to Mum, something's going on. And this isn't right. This is weird. And I remember Googling it, but even at that time, there was nothing online about it. So I think a few of us went through an awakening process in that era. So that kind of continued on. But then it morphed. So it started to be numbers with taglines. So I think the first message that I actually received through with that number was the word believe. And they were really doing a trip on my consciousness, because your consciousness wants to reject that this is happening in you can see it, but you can't believe it. So yes, then it I would say it effectively morphed, and now the way I received is very physical. So it's clusters of synchronicities, all themed, very historic. So they will point out people in history for me, and I'll just get runs and runs and runs of a particular person that they want me to know. Because I think what they're trying to say is at this point in history, this person had an effect. So they really did a number on me with John D. He was that was a huge, it was probably they spent a lot of time on him, giving him.
There.
I love how you say do a number on you when it all started with the numbers. That's funny.
They really get. They threw my life was chaos. It was chaotic because no one believed me. Everyone will think you loop-de-loop. And I could never explain it. It's very hard to explain it to people when they're not experiencing it.
Sounds like you're seeing through the matrix, like you've just been given that thing to see through it, and you can see the connections, and so they can show you a path to follow. And
yeah.
Wow.
And I've gotten like I'm an old head at it now, so I live, because the degree that it comes in now, I'm not living in a normal reality anymore. That's gone. But I'm managing to hold a 3D life now still, but this is my real work.
Yeah.
You know, finding out the truth.
Yeah, welcome to the club.
Yeah. Funny you say that word club, Kelly. Just hold that thought, because I'm going to send you something after this.
Yeah.
God.
I know, we're in a club. We're in a club.
We're in a club.
And it's important. This is an important club to be in, because we need that community right now. Bad man. Like, we need that energetic hit from people who connect with us and mirror back to us what we are to them, you know? So it's
absolutely. Yeah. And we need to, you know, like, you know, it's such a huge realm that no one person can have it all.
No.
So we need to be I've got a section of it, right, which I can put forward, and the stories they tell me, they're very creative. They're not stories that I would come up with on my own. They gave me a run of gnome villages. They told we're all because they're storytellers.
Yeah. Right,
they're storytellers.
Go on, Angela. Give us a bit of a
tell us a story.
Yeah, come on, tell us a gnome story.
Just quickly, have you got a website? Is there somewhere that this is all written down, or sort of
Well, no, like so this is where I might get a little bit hard for me to kind of, you know, articulate it. And this is just my recent cluster, but they basically showed me gnomes. And they showed gnomes because they wanted me to understand the symbolism of a gnome. And a gnome is actually one of the official gatekeepers of planet Earth. So that's what they're doing right now. They're flipping everything upside down, and this false rule is leaving, and the true gatekeepers, the originals,
are they the same as the dwarves that Terence McKenna talks about?
Who was that?
Terence McKenna. He was God, what was Terence McKenna? He was a mind journeyist.
Oh,
basically, he was an intellectual, and he started off in botany, I believe, and got into studying mushrooms and things, and then got into experiencing mushrooms, and talked a lot about consciousness, and that mushrooms may actually be information containers that are sent here to us, and you know, when we have them, we get information out of them and that kind of thing. But
well, actually,
he always talked about
sense.
these dwarves, these little gatekeeper dudes that were running around that he kept seeing.
I hadn't made the mushroom link. Yeah,
the true worldwide internet, like the fungi, the
Silicium.
It's like it's the real internet. It's how nature communicates with itself. Like, it's a fantastic. And plus, with the mushrooms, man, like, there is so many cures to our ailments that are so like suppressed and underexplored with the use of mushrooms. Things with cancer, etc., etc. So. And I've always known mushrooms to be a 6-dimensional consciousness. So if humans left the planet, mushrooms would be one of the dominant consciousness left on this realm. So
that's so interesting.
Have you seen that new show on Netflix? What's it? Oh, it's a cartoon.
Fantastic. Oh, cartoon. No.
I can't remember the name, but it's all about. It's basically this girl who works for the deep state, and it's just truth drops. But they've got this character from Middle Earth, and it's a mushroom.
Yeah, right.
Like an intelligent mushroom.
Yeah.
Well, because I've been vibing around toadstools, and because I've had the gnome thing come through.
Yeah, gnomes, of course.
But you see them with their little toadstool houses, and the Smurfs. They used to live in the. I was just
going to say the Smurfs.
And the Smurfs are interesting because they're blue, and actually another group of entities that look like blue gnomes are the arcturians. The arcturians are small, blue, gnome-like highly masterful, very intelligent, kind creatures. I do a lot of transmissions, and quite often the Arcturians are present in guiding those transmissions. So it's just interesting, they're blue and they're gnome-like.
Well, it's funny you say blue, because another massive thread for me is so this is what I get told, and look, I don't speak for everybody. It's what comes through for me, but I get told that it's definitely a blue light energy. So whether it is Pleiades, Arcturians, Sirius, that is that is what is helping flip this at the moment.
Well, crystalline energetics, like all of our crystal city interpretations, that it's blue light.
It's blue. Yeah, if there's one color that's just been hugely purple, but definitely the blue light. So that's been a quite a big theme for me.
Is this got anything to do with blood? Blue blood, red blood,
well, it's so
purple.
Yes, it's the everything. They invert everything.
They do.
Yep.
They flip it upside down.
All of it. Everything.
Yep.
So I was talking to Paul from What the Flock the other night, and we were talking, because purple's the color of royalty, right? So
yeah.
And we've got we know about the blue bloods, copper blood, iron blood. So are the purples, are they a mix of, the iron red bloods that were here and the ones that came in, the blue bloods, and of course, red and blue is purple. And so they get put in royalty, and they're the ones that talk to whoever, has put the trap down on us.
And you look at the interpretation of the movie Avatar, that they're all blue.
Exactly. And Indian, the Vedas, all full of blue gods.
Blue. Yep. And even Ganesh, even the Indian
gods. They're all blue. They're all blue.
You're wearing blue. And I'm wearing blue.
I'm wearing blue. Yeah.
I've got black and white. I've got a blue background.
You do have a blue background.
You might be purple.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so is there a gnome? Have you, when you say you've been introduced to gnome clusters, are they is this like
no. Okay, I'll rephrase.
Yep.
I've not met little gnomes.
No. Sorry, we haven't found a crystal city yet.
Okay.
Coming.
I haven't, there's no gnomes. Oh my God. Yeah. So say that again, Kelly.
So I was just wondering how geographically specific this is. Like when you get information, are you getting information that has to do with our homeland, with Australia, with where you are currently, or is it sort of a worldwide, or is it even past that, like multidimensional and out past the realm?
It's definitely the world. Yeah, it's the whole world. So they the way they told me the gnome thing, it was really big for me at the time, but that's just kind of the clusters, I've had everything. I've had pyramids, I've had Renaissance paintings, I've had particular people in history, I've had presidents, I've had certain politicians lately. I've started to get stuff on missing. Yeah, I've had
anyone you care to mention?
Like bad stuff or
the 1952. Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
1952. So that takes us to what? Are we talking Australian president or
American?
Okay. Yeah, all right.
Yeah. It's something.
Is it like Eisenhower's timeline?
It was around there, yeah, in the Truman days.
Yep.
But sometimes it's I've had
nice. The Truman Show.
The Truman Show. Yeah. Yeah. But sometimes it's very hard for me because I've almost got to be like a historian.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you get any good stuff, just pass it to me. And,
Yeah, thank you. I'm looking for a researcher because and because it moves so quickly. Some people spend their whole lives on John Dee. I've literally, when it comes through in a cluster, I've literally got like a week, and then it's moved.
Yeah.
So when you say cluster, you're talking about a series of synchronicities.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, it will, like, I'll try and explain one, but it will be like, so with John D, I actually took it's the street's just down the road from me. And so what happened was I actually took a wrong turn down there one day, and I didn't think anything of it. But then my Facebook beeped, and it was someone was looking, someone had a package. It had gone to the wrong house, and she had actually just said, "Does anyone know a John D?" And so I know a sync starting. I know a cluster. They've got my attention.
Yep.
And then, this actually happened. This is how it came through. Like, this is how they get me. And then the next day I go to work, and I was getting a job through work, and the project manager rang me and he said, "Oh, can you give John Daly a call?" So that'll be 3 times, but it will just continue. And the story, and then I'll go, I've got to Google this guy, and then I find out who he is.
Yep.
And that and all of that information on that story, I'll be like, yeah, but I was just looking at that. It just all. But it's very hard.
You don't get downloads of information. You just get pointed where you've got to go and research yourself.
Yeah, like a GPS.
I'm like yes, because but then I'll get synchronicities that will confirm that I'm pulling.
Do you get like a knowing? Do you get like when you get on a topic, you sort of understand what's going on, and then you sort of get confirmations that you're right? Is that what? Yeah, that's how I kind of go.
Yeah. You know, and it will continue. It will just continue.
Right, yeah.
It will just continue.
Well, I mean, I love this conversation, Angela, because honestly, where we left yesterday's conversation was on the topic of synchronicities. And in order for us to do these lofty actions like find a crystal city, we have to be like in the flow of synchronicity. We have to be in the flow of like letting those signs show us the pathway forward, the number alignments and all of those sorts of things, people, places, things, times, and events lining up to move us closer to our path, to our goal, really. And I think when you're dealing with something that's lofty and imaginative and nonsensical, that's when you can be really like guided by synchronicity. So it's a really great place to start. Our audience, in order to continue their ascension journey, are going to have to remember to take note of the synchronicities in their life again.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you can, some people, if you're not tuned into them, you can miss them.
Yeah.
But they will guide you to exactly where you need to be. Like, I kind of feel, even with this conversation that I've had, and the whole thing has been quite synchronistical, including what happened to me this morning.
All right. Awesome. Let's go.
That story in a minute. But this whole journey for us has been exactly the same. Like literally since we started, it just took on a life of its own. But these people just started popping out of the ether. But it's like you say, you'd get, someone's video, I'd see it like 3 times in a day, and I'm like, who's that person? And then I'd watch another video, and they'd be being interviewed on it or something. And I'm like, what? And so, and you get these things, and then they either call you or you call them, and they're putting us all. I would be absolutely nothing without the people that I've had around me walking my journey with me. This is not something I can do single-handedly,
Absolutely. Hello, or the fucking social distancing oxymoron that we've been put through in this fucking last 18 months. Like, man, you're absolutely right. We need each other. We need people. That is, what did we term it yesterday? Organic consciousness needs itself. And it's so important.
And I mean, we've tried having one person, ruling, right? And it doesn't work. Everyone needs to be the ruler or the creator of their own world,
Yeah, absolutely.
They're going down.
They are, They're
going down.
We'll touch on that at the end, see if you've got any info for us.
I've got info.
Because all my info is we're on the precipice, should we say.
Yeah, they're going down. Yeah.
Nice.
Or the way that it gets kind of been explained to me is, and this is a story that I've got, but you've got to appreciate it's kind of it was a 3-month process for it to come through in the way it did. But the way it was explained to me was that there is a club that's obviously ruling, which we all know. They kind of gave me they basically described it to me like a boys' club, you know, cigars and and what they're doing now is obviously flipping that upside down. The rightful rulers, because they told me, they explained the club to me as pirates. They said they're pirates. They've pirated.
Yeah, perfect. Of the sea. They're of the sea.
Of course,
yes. Yep, they're pirates of the sea, and they've pirated our land. They've pirated the histories. You know, if you look, I had a thought the other day. This wasn't synchronistical, but it just didn't surprise me. But I thought, I wonder why I've never Googled who found the first dinosaur. And so I looked it up, and his name did not disappoint me. So I think they make up names.
Oh, they do.
They
all
make
the
up
time.
names.
But I've got a question about dinosaurs. Like, how the hell do they have sex? Like, honestly, like those big fucking tails with the spikes all over them and little pathetic arms, like they cannot even have sex, those made up mythical creatures. Do you know with dinosaurs, they didn't even have a word for dinosaurs. They had a word for dragon in the dictionary. Then they, in 1 year, they ripped out the word dragon and replaced it with dinosaur. And not one native tribe has got dinosaur bones. Like, not fucking fabricated.
Well, I'll be straight up. Like, I did believe in dinosaurs till about a week ago.
Oh, wow. You got smacked.
I did. Because I hadn't thought about it.
Well, this is the thing. We run off subconscious so much, and because we're just so infiltrated in our minds and so given such a story. It's
dinosaurs are real.
Yeah,
but his name is get this, his name is Robert Plot. And what's a plot?
Robert Plot.
It's a storyline.
Rob Plot.
So he discovered the first dinosaur bones, did he?
Yes.
Well,
he was part of the Royal Association, of course.
Yep.
Yeah.
They probably ran a competition. In Tartaria, it's a joke because, like, when you look at the history of all these, all these fucking buildings, it always starts with the official narrative. It's like, and then the city of Melbourne held a competition to see who could invent the National Library, and it's just like the same story over and over. So maybe they had a competition to see who could find the first dinosaur bone.
And they took him because of his last name, and they thought, that sounds like a good plot line. We'll feed them.
Yeah, you see that kind of stuff everywhere. They love to just shove it in our faces, I think. They
literally invent names, you know.
Well, I mean, it's like the Greek philosophers, right? I mean, how many do we get? I mean, it's literally a handful. You know, there might be 10 if you're really into it. There might be 20, and they tell us these are the smart people over thousands of years. This little handful of people. Everyone else just didn't know what was going on.
And then they say one thing like, I think, therefore I am. Like, okay, cool. Like, that's good. That's nice. Like, we could have thought that thought. It's not like it's a fucking revolution of a thought. Like, and yet we get taught that it's just like, oh my God, this amazing God man came up with this thought. It's like, they basically put the whole civilization in deep thought for 1,000 years. Like, whatever.
They've stitched us up. They've stolen, pirated, and created pretty much everything that we're living in at the moment.
So why did you get pointed towards John Dee?
Well,
interesting character.
Yeah, yes. And again, I might not be able to articulate because, as I said, I'm not a history buff. You know, and he's
Shakespeare. How's that? Was he Shakespeare? You've got to read through this kind of literature of I don't even kind of understand the first word, and then you've got to. You can try reading where they change all the letters around, and you've got to in your mind change your S's to F's and do all this stuff, and so annoying.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually not heard of the theory of him being Shakespeare before.
Haven't you heard of that?
No, that makes sense. Actually, I'm gonna say yes to
John
that.
Dee basically, they reckon. I mean, he also did the KJV, but they say he was Shakespeare.
All right,
and
that
Shakespeare
makes
was just a pen name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shakespeare was just a pen name.
Okay.
And of course, Shakespeare. Someone went through Shakespeare's works, and he was, the greatest writer. And throughout his works, he spelled his name something like 12 different ways. Like he couldn't spell his own surname. So I mean,
that's actually. I'm actually going to look at that after this. I'm actually going to look at that because I've got the park up the road is Shakespeare Park.
There you go. The shaky.
I'm on it.
Because he was a writer, also, right?
Yeah, but what they kind of showed me, what I picked up from him was that so he created a system of magic called Enochian magic.
Yep.
And so basically he now what did they say with him? He described it as like talking to angels, or the first person to talk to angels, or Adam's language. But he worked very closely with the Queen at the time.
Yeah.
And I believe, just in the way that it was shown to me, that I feel like he actually opened up some sort of portal or gateway at that time.
Yeah.
And it's kind of played out. It's gone all through the castles. Yeah, it's played out.
Queen Elizabeth I too, who's that queen we see, that really white queen with the red hair and never smiles, looks a bit.
She looks like the Queen of Hearts in Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, she does, exactly. Yeah.
Probably far from the Queen of Hearts.
Yeah, exactly. Inverted.
Yeah, well, it's the same in Alice in Wonderland. She's not very hearty.
No, not very hearty.
Off with their head.
Another stitch up. Yeah. So, but he also used to sign his name. This is quite interesting. So, actually, he was the first person to coin the term the British Empire. So I feel like at that point he's accessed something. Something's come through. I really don't know what. Like sometimes I can't fill the gaps. I mean, I don't like to fill it. Pardon?
Pirate, empire.
Yeah.
Empire is a fire, right? So pirate is like a fire eater, but then empire, that's the same.
Oh, empire.
Pirate.
Empire.
So what does M mean? Empower the pirates or something like that. Yeah, there's so many there.
I wonder if what the portal you're referring to, I wonder if that was him connecting in with that real energy, that dark, that. Like yesterday, we talked about this chained beast that was so ancient that it just had this black goo running off it. And it's that black goo that has been utilized in the nefarious agenda, which hopefully is not in the vaccine, but probably is. It's in all our smart technology and all the AI. It's self-replicating. It's thought replicating. And I think like we've had to integrate our culture and society and probably our bodies forever. So, which I've linked to the real. So anyway, continue. No, I totally agree. And as I said, like I can't sometimes fill all the information, but we all have a idea, I just don't go and say that for me. I don't try and fill it with something that I haven't been shown. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a definite line there from John Dee all the way through. You can trace it up to sort of, like Madame Blavatsky and what's that other dude's name? The dude with the hat.
Into television
Crowley,
too.
Aleister Crowley.
Oh, yeah.
So there's this big lineage. And of course, science. They pretty much brought in the sciences, and science is just seance.
Yeah. And didn't John Dee, wasn't he responsible for the television? Wasn't John Dee connected to the television?
I don't know. I haven't heard that one.
Look, I'm going to have to remember
that. No. It's all good because I'll kind of look at all of this stuff, after. Because
King Arthur's another.
Oh, King Arthur.
Another link. King Arthur. There's a book or a letter,
King Arthur.
and it's basically Mercator writing to John Dee talking about King Arthur being in the Arctic, having wars in the Arctic with other people. It wasn't snow, but what we call the Arctic. Yeah. So there's all this, and it's all at that time point. It's all sort of 1600s, isn't it? So it's all at that sort of time we keep looking at that. It looks like something happened.
Yeah.
And there was this time rift or bubble or whatever the hell went on.
Well, also too, if he's working with the Queen to create the British Empire, they were conspiring, and they've obviously been using, conspire, and they've either accessed portals or figured out black magic, or they've figured something out.
Released
and
something.
That's been passed.
Released is the word.
Released the beast.
They've released the beast, and that's the chain thing. But also too, he used to sign his name 007.
Oh yes, I have heard this. Yes.
Yeah, so he used to sign his name 007, and so I've had a huge run. I won't go into all of it like in detail, but I've had a huge run on 007. Including that new movie that's just come out. But that's almost James Bond, the story of it is almost it's almost a mirror of what's actually happening.
Yeah.
They'll just put it onto your TV screen and you think it's a movie, but it'll give you a really good understanding of what is going on.
Background, Right. And that's how they do it, isn't it? And they show it to for our perception, it's so fantastical and out there that we don't believe it. But that's the world they put us. That's the cage, isn't it? They all live in this other world where they're running around doing bloody James Bond things. And
how did you get to Tartaria in your synchronistic journey?
Well, see, I didn't. My girlfriend. So I'm on JCK's page, but my girlfriend lives in Australia, and we share our stuff, right? So if you go, I've got messages going back, 5 or 6 years, just back and sync. It's just a full story. And she's in Australia. We've had a lot of Australian. It's been bizarre, nothing I can actually describe in a lot of detail, but I get shown a lot with Australia.
Well, tell us a bit about that. Like what, how would you summarize it? Where are you now? What country are you in?
I'm in New Zealand.
New Zealand. Okay, brilliant. So, tell us what have you got on the vibe on Australia? Because we've been trying to piece together its true history. We've been trying to piece together like where it sits in all of this and how important it is to the world, this continent, and the original law holders are here and the original people. Like there's so many things about Australia.
Well, it's kind of like, it's almost like, to the way I'm understanding it, it's like you've got the Aboriginal people. It's almost like a mirror of New Zealand as well. It's always going back to the original. They always take me back to the ancestors, what the original people that were here. And I've never actually really quite fully understood it, but both of our countries have had the pirates arrive, and I think what's happened is the pirates have arrived and built these cities, built our history, and so anyone kind of born after that has just been taken up in their world, effectively.
Do we know where the pirates come from?
Well, I just the word that's been used with me, and I don't want to say this, I don't know if this is the right thing to say, but it's how, and I'm not saying all, but I got shown Klansmen. Yeah. So I think it's the Freemasons.
Well, I mean, clans, you think Scotland, and then of course the biggest, Freemasonry is Scottish Rite.
Yeah, that's been big.
We've definitely probably pieced together enough evidence that the Freemasons were the ones charged with like unbuilding tartaria, like covering it up and unbuilding it. I've forgotten the word, but basically, yeah. So on the whole Masonic symbolism is the tools, the architectural tools are in their logo, their signature logo, and it's always about buildings, and it's always about levels of buildings. And I think that they're the ones that were charged with holding the original truth about this realm and the reset, and then going ahead and systematically taking down the tech and basically middle managing that process. That's the vibe I get with them. Cambell, what do you think?
The refacaders for sure. And I think we do have to look at, some of these buildings, literally the whole building, is it just a facade like we see in the World's Fair?
Yeah.
Because look at China, right?
Yeah.
I saw a video yesterday and they were showing these buildings, I think it was in China, and people were literally grabbing the bricks in the building. It was just crumbling off, crumbling in their hands.
The ghost cities.
Just complete fabrications, like paper mache cities. So yeah, someone's coming to change something, because we were talking yesterday with JC, and we were talking, is this whole realm like a reconstruction of what's outside the realm, and is it all a bit of a, did it work? Are we just looking at stuff that we remember working, but we're just being shown the facades?
Yeah, the fake version, the mimicry. So like the real version has been discontinued, disconnected, dismantled, disassembled, and has been like basically left dormant to just hold library books, or students, or lunatic asylums. I love that one. Whatever. But it, like the actual tech and its original purpose of the building and why they built them that way, etc., and how it's connected to the ether and music and sound and water, like that's all been disconnected and lost to us. So, and essentially we're just like versions of the macro, like we are in ourselves disconnected from the sound and the water and the ether ourselves. So yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah, sorry, continue on.
No, I was actually just listening to what you said, because to be fair, I haven't really taken a deep dive into the Tartarian stuff at all. So I was actually just really interested in what you were saying about that. So you kind of saying that, are you like, what are you suggesting about these old buildings? Like, what are you saying about those?
Well, they're either a mimic version of the original structure that may exist outside the realm or on a different dimension now, or they are the original buildings, but they've been disassembled and disconnected from their original purpose and use.
So they're basically they're energy machines. They're all to do with like a free energy grid. And it's been disconnected so that we don't, that they stole the power,
because I've had in my own way, like but not enough that I actually fully grasped it, but I've had stuff on Big Ben, these towers,
Big Ben. Did airships used to dock at Big Ben? Do we know?
Yeah, the airships. That's another thing, Angela. So all these tall structures were docking, like the Eiffel Tower and like our
Eiffel Tower,
fucking Empire State Building, like all docks for Airbuses, which is so cool. They've stolen like the they've stolen like the energy grid. That's what they've done. They've stolen the energy grid, and they've put all their monuments. It's why they've got all these, like if you look at they took all the obelisks from ancient Egypt, and they put them, dotted them around right next to their castles. They've literally they've stolen the planet in more ways than one.
I've heard they even do things like build abattoirs and stuff on nodal points. Just shove their death in there and disrupt the frequencies. Yes,
they disrupt our frequency basically, or disconnect us.
So do you see
not
this?
Want us to ascend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're trying to hold us down. So do you see this as like a program almost that's been laid over that we believe, and we're maybe not seeing what the physical reality down here is, and that's what we're breaking at the moment, is that program?
I feel like I know, and I can only speak for how I'm experiencing it, because it's so crafty what they've done. It's just you're just so trapped in it, and even to try and explain it to people, the consciousness,
cognitive dissonance. I mean, we've been taught that all this stuff doesn't exist.
No,
like exactly what we're talking about now, getting messages and talking about free energy, even you know, we're being taught to avoid these people. They're quacks. They're you know, clearly it doesn't work. Look at Nikola Tesla. He died poor. See, he tried free energy. You know?
They're all
with
on
the airships.
And now they're all on vax, those freaky dinky fringe dwellers. But I love, you know what? I love that statement, they stole the power. I think that's so fucking funny. You're like, they literally stole the power.
They literally stole,
including our power.
The way it came through synchronistically for me is I got shown that they are literally like axing out, like we're trees. And, you know, the woodcutter in a fairy story, you know, you always have a woodcutter. He's always chopping down. The Jack and the Beanstalk, he chops down the
and the American one with the bull, what was his name? Paul Bunyan.
Don't know that one.
American walked across America and chopped down all the trees, and you had a giant blue bull.
Wow. Then you got the Loryx. That was all about chopping down trees.
Chopping down
the pigs
chopping
and
down
the
our
big
helix DNA.
Yep. Yes, indeed. And that leads us to this moment in time where we're reclaiming it or we're selling it. Which one are you going to do?
I'm reclaiming.
Fucking oath.
Which
is exactly like Mabo. Like we're reclaiming our sovereign land, which is our homeland, our land and our land.
It's ours. They stole it. You don't own it. And we've obviously got galactic help, thank God. And we've got a time we're in, you know, this time is prophesized.
And even in the 12th insight. Carol mentioned it yesterday, so I opened it up, and on the first page it says, what does it say? This in the second decade of the 20th century there'll be a great awakening or something like that. Okay, this was written
it's
like
really
10 years ago.
I mean, we said it yesterday, but this book, The 12th Insight, which was the last one of the Celestine Prophecy, which was a series of books that most of us started our spiritual journey on, and like a long time ago when we were just in like early 20s or whatever. And then we all read the first 3 and then went off on our spiritual tangents, but most of us never got to the 12th insight, and it was all about 212, right? Which of course we now know is 2021. And hello, I'm highly recommending anyone on this channel to go and get a copy of the 12th insight and have a look at it.
Read.
I think
the first thing is all about, the first chapter is all about holding your frequency, right? And what are we talking about? It's just,
I think it's a missing document for now.
Interesting that the 12, because I feel like a lot of people went through an awakening process in 2012.
Well, the energy whatever happened, and then of course they're fucked with all our timelines. They have mega fucked. And the Hadron Particle Collider also turned on in 212. So and then since then the Mandala effect came up hardcore, and who knows what timeline we're on
it's
right
all
now.
just breaking down. No, it's so interesting. But I really find a lot of peace in the I find so much peace. It's been invaluable for me in knowing that the light wins. It's a done deal.
We've won.
It's a done deal. There's nothing. I read something the other day. This wasn't a sync, but I just thought it was really interesting how this guy described it. And I thought I like that. And he basically said, you know, because I feel like they've also got time. They're meddling with time, these people.
Yeah, fuck time.
Definitely.
Looking glass,
they've got time. Like I'm certain They've got
we're going to have a list of required videos for you to watch after this.
Yeah. They're meddling, But I remember this. I watched this interview. I don't know where he said it, but I remember him saying, so even like let's say with the looking glass technology, like he said that they're looking into the future and they realize there's this moment in time that no matter what they do, the future is, they can't alter it.
They can't even really see it. I think they get once it's been like turned over to the light, they only get like a vague image of it. They can't get the detail and they can't affect it. They can't affect it. And I've like, even in the last couple of months, they've been jumping our timeline like a couple of times a day, like, which is why we're also drained and exhausted. Like they're trying to stop people from like waking up, and they're trying to stop people from losing their belief.
But the funniest thing is it's working in reverse.
Of course.
And they don't get it. Like, because every time they do that, they just get more possibilities, and those possibilities are just turning out to be people waking up, basically.
So that will explain why what seems like this path has taken a long time.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. We're all going, why don't people see this? And then as soon as this happened, it's like, oh my God. 95% of people have no idea where they are or who they are.
And like they're counteracting it here. I'm in Melbourne, of course. They're counteracting every time they jump a timeline and fail, and we're waking up more. They're counteracting it by adding more mandates, more laws, more harsher. And it's just all about get the apple juice, get the apple juice, get the apple juice, because inside that apple juice is something very fucked. And like, go get the apple juice once you've had it. We're not sure what the journey lies ahead at that crossroad, but so I don't know.
They've got something, all right. 150%. It's
I mean, they could have, I mean, look, to be fair though, they have been poisoning us forever. Like, we are literally living in a poisoned realm. Like, that is the truth.
Maybe that was their problem, right? They built up our resistance to all their crap.
That's true. We've biologically evolved to handle all the toxicities. We eat it for breakfast now, Tim. What else you got?
I make soup out of it.
Come at me.
That's so funny.
And I think that's a big part of it too, is with this whole, whatever's going around and shedding and all this kind of talk. And I think it's so much, it's all energy, right? If everything's energy, how can you can transmute it? It can't affect you unless you let it. So, and I know everyone's detoxing and that's really, we definitely need to do that. But we definitely need to just focus as well on, we're self-healing, self-replicating, bodies, right? We can handle anything, and they definitely can't affect the spirit inside. So
and there's there's a certain group of people, because it's obviously that some are going to go first, right, into this new city, and there's nothing really that can stop that.
Ooh.
Not saying I'm going to go out and get the apple juice tomorrow, but it's a done deal.
Or ever.
So
do you see a split happening? Like this?
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of happening in front of our faces, isn't it?
That's been quite big for me. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, and as in, some people will move on, shall we say, move up, and some won't.
The way that I kind of, the way that I think about it in my head. So I don't know what it's going to physically look like. Like, I feel like some are going to go first.
Because there's so much talk about
there's a split.
Ships coming and picking people up. It just randomly happened, and all these different people at the same time started saying the same thing.
Yeah, I agree.
So what were they saying? Like,
I'm just going to go on we, because I'm still human.
Okay.
So I'm going to go to keep talking. I'll be back.
Okay. What were they?
Everyone's been saying that there's, spaceships or ships from, whatever, from wherever, probably different realms or something, that are going to come and literally pick people up and take them to
people.
somewhere different.
I'm going to be really transparent. Like that kind of resonates a little bit.
Yeah. Everyone.
Yeah, that really, because I get shown, like, the way they describe it to me, just with my stuff, they call it a safe haven. That's what they call it with me. They say safe haven. So it's no, where it's
where
going.
We're going to go.
Yeah, they've called it specifically a safe haven.
And so is this just like the weirdos, like us, the people that come back in? Are we the ones that get taken out, and then the native, shall we say, of this actual realm, it gets turned to what it should be for them? Is that what we're talking about? Or
well, I know it's a split, and I know there's a choice involved.
Yeah, it's definitely choice.
So I know that. So the soul definitely has that choice.
For the first time, probably for the first time, free of that incarnation cyclic trap. I think that's what our job's been, is to open up consciousness enough to within ourselves to retake that choice back. And I think we haven't had it for a long time.
Couldn't have said it better, Kelly. It's spot on. And it's like there's a more and more waking up to be able to actually even just slightly start to make that choice. And that's because people are starting to see the dark in their face right now. So people are going, oh, really? But, people like us, and I'm sure, all of your audience and people that have been going a while.
Our audience are fucking legends, man.
Really?
Like, they're so fucking smart. I love them. They're like so smart and so tuned in.
Switched on.
Yeah. Well, you have to be just so tuned in to get the level of this.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you say that you've just come across Tartaria.
Yeah.
So,
but I resonated with it. It was right down, because I'd been getting my own kind of stuff on monuments, and Big Ben was big for me. Just something like these clock towers. I could never really understand why I'd be getting clock towers. But Eiffel Towers come up and some stuff. So I was very aware of the grids and how they created these cities around us and built this, and I was aware of that. So when I did watch the Tartarian stuff, I really did resonate. You guys were my people.
have you come across the star forts?
The what?
Star forts.
No.
Right. Because Tartaria, we sort of say Tartaria, but it's a massive topic. Where it's pretty much all of history and trying to figure out what happened before us throughout all of time. So there's star forts all over the world. These star forts.
Star forts.
I'll show you a picture.
Yeah, bring some up.
That sounds
they're amazing. And it's kind of like the Nazca lines. No one knew they were there until they got above them in a plane. And so now that we've got Google Earth and drones and everything, everyone's working out that these, forts and castles are actually stars and geometric shapes. There you go.
Okay.
So they're like everywhere, all around the world, and no one had even really properly seen them before, which is like an amazing. This is a big part of the Tartaria transformational consciousness, is reconciling with these beautiful structures that are all over the world. Actually, Campbell, this is one of your expertise, I would say, the star forts.
Yeah, I love my star forts. They're literally everywhere.
So what are they, buildings or?
Yeah, they're huge. As you can see this one down here.
Yeah.
This is Palmova, is that what it's called? That's pretty much like a village inside this star fort. They're all houses. And these star forts were then attached to what we're calling star cities, which was basically a massive walled city attached to the star fort. And you find in them all the old buildings, the cathedrals, the domes, the red brick structures, and they're all built off like a template, and it's all to do with energy as far as we can see, and sound, frequency. But we've got them in Australia, I haven't looked at New Zealand, but no doubt there's some there. They're everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fascinated because I've never heard of them.
Yeah, most people haven't.
Fascinated.
Yeah, it's this is the big one. Like when your eyes start to open up to this consciousness, like you can see things that you'd never even knew existed. And we're just talking on this plane, on this realm, the amount of things you can see finally that we're just like shut off to our perception of reality. Like, I don't think many people, oh, look, there you are, Campbell. Oh, Camby. He's in there. Campbell's been on this topic, to his credit, for fucking ever. So
amazing.
I love that about you, buddy. All right, so let's see. Starport's Tartaria, New Zealand. See random if anything comes up specifically. Netherlands,
Australia history hoax. Oh my god!
Hoax.
Who's that bloody autodidactic guy again?
Nothing. I'll have to dive into
yeah,
a bit
we'd
of
have
New
to do a
Zealand.
search.
Yeah, I'm obviously, I've got my afternoons planned now. I know where I'll be looking.
You'll probably get the pointers of where they are, so you can just start finding them.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely because they look absolutely amazing,
And there's some beautiful illustrations from old books.
All the old maps are just but they can't really tell us who built them. And of course, in the military, they call these forts a lot of the time. They call them batteries.
Yeah.
Call them what?
Batteries.
Oh God.
Batteries, right? And that's where all the troops go in, and then they come out and they charge. So there's all this electrical language.
Electrical language. Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, that makes total sense.
So, what like look at that?
They're just ridiculous. And we're just told they're forts. So all forts, and the reason they've got the angles on them is to deflect cannonballs.
Yeah.
I'm serious. That's the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
just like dinosaurs can fuck with those tails and tiny arms.
The dinosaur story. I'll go around now saying, "Oh, dinosaurs aren't real, guys."
Honestly, get anyone to sit down and explain how they reproduce, and they'll be like, "Oh,
What a question.
They can't."
What a question. Yeah.
So, Angela, tell us, there's one of our favorite angles with Tartaria is all the strange creatures.
Beasties, the long neck man. Where'd he go? Yeah, there.
Yeah. All of these odd little creatures that pop up.
Cryptoids.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us, what information do you want to bring to the Tartarian discussion from your synchronistic process on this kind of round table right now?
Well, I think kind of like obviously the main message is
I
think we've covered I actually think we've covered we've covered it. We're going into the light, and if there's one thing I do want to say is that and this is what is getting me through this time, and it's there's zero doubt with me, zero doubt that it's a change of rule. And you talked about the dragon being chained.
Yeah.
They're chaining him up again. He's going back down into the pit. That's the process that we're going through right now.
So explain that a bit more. So from the information that you've got, kind of channeled through, what is the timeline here for the human race? What's happening?
Well, I have no times.
Oh no, not literally times. Just generally speaking, what's unfolding around us.
Okay, so really, I think the awakening process, obviously. So it's like this is the way I'm interpreting it. It's like they're trying to get as many souls through the door, at this time as they can.
Yeah.
We definitely this 5D thing. It's when I responded to your video. So I get told that some of us are going into 5D. Like, I feel personally like it's a club, or there's a group of people that they're ready to go. Yeah. And so I don't know how or what that's going to look like, but I was really quite drawn to what Campbell said about potentially getting picked up by ships. That is a very, very real possibility. Or it could be the Flash.
Yep.
And we all get the DNA awakening, because I've had stuff on that as well come through.
Okay. So you see like a solar flash or plasma flash as a DNA activator.
I've had a little cluster of that. Yeah, this was a while back now, but that was in my space, or that kind of came through. So that's a very real possibility. Could be the ships, but I know that the people that go, they're going to a place where there's safety. It's a safe haven from
the
From
poison.
the people who are going to chase us because we just went and destroyed their little
Yeah.
pit.
Belief structure.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that we talk of ships, isn't it? Because like Tartaria is all about the airship, and
airships,
they got rid of the ships. They delete all the old photos. All the skies are deleted. They're called vanilla skies. All the ships are deleted out of the skies, and that we're talking about ships reoccurring here to come and get us. So I mean, people get confused with the notion of ships being connected to space, and we're talking about a flat realm with a dome, but this we put them down as a multi-dimensional something, an organic multi-dimensional structure that is to move us somewhere. So continue.
Oh no, it's just when you said airship, did you say airships?
Yeah.
So I've not heard you guys talk about that, but I'll go through after we off here.
Yeah.
I'll go through all my messages, because I got airships, but it was so random. I never quite understood why I would get airships.
This is the thing, we're told that they're just blimps, right? And of course we have the Hindenburg, so of course that stopped all airships, can't do it anymore. But we found pictures back in the 20s and 30s, they were everywhere.
Yeah.
And these things, they were basically like cruise ships, but in the sky.
Yeah.
They were full of rooms. They could take hundreds of people. They had restaurants and viewing decks and libraries, and it was literally like a cruise ship in the air.
Non-polluted.
And they would dock up to we've got pictures of them docking on the Chrysler building, on the Empire State Building.
Oh,
literally with the drop thing down the front. These stairs come out of the front of the airship, and people walk into it.
And so is our history saying that they didn't exist, but they did? Is that?
Yeah, well, the history pretty much says that they existed for about 30 or 40 years. They show you some silly balloons as the early ones, and then suddenly they're these football, field-sized ships. And then one blows up and you can't do it anymore. So they were just, it's such a dodgy story.
No, but it's so fascinating, because I couldn't figure it. I could not figure this out. I couldn't figure out why I would get airships.
Bring up that one of it docking on the top.
Here we go. There we go. You see that?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So this sort of
this one, yeah.
Yeah, that's really.
So that's the top of the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
It's just so bizarre. Yeah. I really vibe with that.
And then have we got one of the Eiffel Tower? See if I can. But they're beautiful. Like look that. Yeah. I don't know. That's a flying machine with an air balloon. I think that's just an interpretation. But like they literally are all over these older photos. These beautiful blimpy zeppelins.
And they show us in all these movies, these steampunk movies.
Yeah, this is like a steampunk one.
Oh, wow. See that? Yeah, wow.
So yeah, the steampunk ones are like, how beautiful.
And there you go. It's literally an airship, that one.
Steampunk is an interesting thing. It's like the Gothic period of our architecture. Oh, that's quite implying one. It's a piece of art there. But
it's
yeah,
kind
you
of
get
there
the
to
point.
say, yeah, we had tech, but it was all machines, you know, there was not actually electricity or free energy or anything. But
airships. Let's see if I can find Paris. Do we have any of the Eiffel Tower? Have you got some of those? Anyway, it doesn't matter. You get the point.
Probably, if I can find them. There's Gog and Magog up the top. Remember we were talking about that last night? That giant.
Oh,
God.
yeah, there we go. Yep. Just side note from last night's conversation. So Angela, I've got to just ask a few more questions about these gnomes, since you did bring up the gnomes.
The gnomes.
Brought up the gnomes. You didn't
I brought up the gnomes.
Talking about it like that, just like.
Are they live inside mountains?
Well, I think they just wanted me to understand the story. They wanted me to associate that we are the gnomes. So that's what they'll try to do with me. So, because they can't land in my room and tell me to my face. So they have to find a way to be able to tell me a story.
Barbagazi, Nisa, Kokis, Voltaire, Clurican, Duende, or as you may know them, gnomes. Gnomes are small and unobtrusive until they're not. You can find these menacing statues of creepy old men with pointy hats in various stores around the world. Collectively, we are aware of these little creatures, but where did they originate from, and is there any merit to their existence? Let's take a look in the second episode of Beyond the Known. The statues we are accustomed to seeing were created sometime in the 18th century by a man named Philip Griebel. The statues were often used for luck. You can picture an elderly woman and her moo-moo placing a rosy-cheeked statue, hoping for better days. But where did these statues get their likeness? We can first see the presence of gnomes in ancient Rome, where Priapus, a fertility god, was once worshipped and placed into statue form in Rome's finest gardens. Let's fast forward to the 16th century, and we meet a Swiss alchemist, Paracelsus, who introduces gnomes into the Renaissance period. He depicted them as knee-high humanoids with a negative affinity for humans and a dash of magical essence. His book on elemental spirits described the abilities of gnomes, being derived from the earth, as they are able to move through the earth itself as easily as fish swim through the sea. Around the 19th century, gnomes became akin to goblins and then gremlins. Various authors took the helm to recreate the backstories of gnomes. Some depictions lead gnomes down the sinister path of being pesky vermin, eating your livestock, fire burning in their eyes, while others giggly garden dwellers, helping your garden grow. And this kept the mythos of gnomes static in our minds well into the current century. It seemed gnomes were nothing more than fiction, or masters of the unseen, as far as the general population was concerned. That is, until 2008, when a video from Argentina became viral for its unsettling content. Multiple videos and stories have been revisited since, and while some could be dismissed as a hoax, others are a little harder to write off. One of the more prominent stories that went on to make Spanish headlines is the encounter and capture of the Gnome of Girona. It was September. The year was 1989. A small group of friends were on a camping retreat just outside the city of Girona, Spain, with music filling their ears and barbecue filling the air. Not much could deter this joyous outing, but unfortunately, their vacation was about to come to an abrupt end. For a small, rabbit-like creature came stumbling out of the bushes with glowing red eyes and blistered skin. It stood 12 centimeters high and walked upright as it made a beeline to the cassette player. The group of friends looked on in shock when one of them decided to turn the music on, of which this strange creature was seemingly attracted to by maximum volume. The heinous creature then let out a laugh that sounded much like a laugh of an old man who had too much to drink. It quickly tried to escape back into the bushes when someone from the group decided to throw a blanket over it and shove it into a birdcage, where it refused to eat for 4 days and eventually died from starvation afterwards. It was put into a clear coffee jar filled to the brim with formaldehyde for preservation. Many came forward to claim the Gnome of Girona as a hoax. However, it's still unsettling to think what could stumble out of the bushes at any given moment while you're enjoying the outdoors, content and unaware. As more videos are beginning to surface year after year, it's easy to speculate that the mythos of gnomes is alive and well, breathing its own life throughout many cultures and countries, enough so to make you think twice before dangling your toes, uncovered and bare, out from the edge of your bed at night. Who knows what may be lurking underneath?
Yeah.
They do it through stories. They do it through, that's what they do. So with the gnomes, basically they said to me, they said that we're the official gatekeepers of planet Earth. Right, because at the moment, because whoever this darker club, they've stolen our. It's almost like they've had control of all of the portals and the gates.
Keys.
Yeah, they've had the keys. They've had the cross keys. They've had those keys.
Cross keys, of course.
Yeah, they've had those keys. The cross keys. So, and they've denied us access. They've stolen it. They've denied us access. But we are going to be given the keys back, and we will be the ones guarding the portals and the stargates.
Can I just read you this headline? It says, ultra-rich people used to hire real-life gnomes to live on their estates. That's what this headline says from this document. Real-life guarded gnomes to live on their estate. Lessons from history.
Well, where did the whole thing of garden gnomes come from?
Yeah, I've never even thought to look. Let's check this shit out, man.
It reminds me also of the
You guys want to be gnomes, don't you?
All right. So, yeah, let's see. Spotted them, of course, garden, 18th century. But back to the 18th century, of course.
Of course.
Too much money, building giant. All right, no, I can't. But look.
And so see these gardens. These are the farms of the old world.
That is the farms of the old world.
These big palaces that we're told are palaces.
Yep. Versailles. So I won't bother reading that right now. But let's like some of these. So best down here. Look, gnome authenticity.
Wow.
Fragile alliance. I'm just like, we've never really looked at gnomes before.
No. And are gnomes dwarves? Are they the same thing?
Well, I kind of just bundled them all into one, but even the seven dwarfs and this mining thing as well.
I was just going to mention that.
This mining.
They wake up Snow White, right? They wake her up.
Yeah, and they go mining. And just, this is so random, but have a look at the Tesla logo. It's a pick.
Oh, mining pick. Yeah, right.
So,
like all these doors, like Amar Maru? Have you come across these stone doors that go into mountains? Is that something to do? Because gnomes, obviously, mountains inside, gold, all this kind of stuff. I mean, dwarves.
I had. I'll have to kind of maybe pull up my stuff. After here, but We're
gonna have to get you back for sure.
Yeah, I've had a run on that specific. So the way that came through for me, it was because I've had red rocks as well. They've shown me like canyons, red rocks, and I was actually getting the red door come through, and then the armor. That's a red door, but the way that I understood it or unpacked it was there's a story about a man and he's getting chased and he runs up and he can walk through that red rock because he's of the right frequency signature.
Mm-hmm.
But it's for not everyone can access those portals, if that kind of is coming across right.
Yeah. Totally,
So
yeah. So you've got to
how
match the frequency or else it's a brick wall.
Yeah. Otherwise it's and I don't know if this is absolutely like correct, but it's the way I perceived it. It's like there's some people, there's a light club on Earth that has already got that right frequency. We've got those keys. Yeah, it's the way.
Do you know where those people are? Are they everywhere, or is that like a specific?
Well, I don't know who specifically. I think that's somewhat that you'd feel it in yourself.
There's a lot going on in Thailand with old bloodlines, shall we say?
Do you know what's also weird about the gnome? Is it like the garden gnome is like a statue of a little human, like, you know, we did
Medusa.
And when we look at the history in Tartaria, like they had technology to basically take organic structures and turn them into stone. So this whole notion of garden gnomes being represented as stone. And are you guys reading this? It's saying like it was fashionable for wealthy estate owners to hire people to dress as druids, never wash themselves, grow their hair and nails as long as possible, and live in their gardens as ornamental hermits. Like what? Have you? Like it's like, hello.
I think you've hit the nail on the head, because
is it possible that gnomes were captured? They were
the gardeners,
the gatekeepers, the gardeners, the gatekeepers, and they were imprisoned somehow and turned into stone somehow and put into people's gardens somehow.
We've been entombed.
Rabbit hole.
Yes, we've been, because that was another thing that was quite present in that story. Was it's almost like we have been encased in stone. So I applied that to us as humans on here. We're the gnomes, but we've been in stone. We haven't been able to do anything. We can't move. We're stuck in one spot. But we're being, I think it's when the sunlight hits a gnome, when the sun hits a gnome, or I think they inverted it and said actually when the sun hits a gnome, it gets turned into stone, because they're going to want to make it look like the sun's bad. But they're not going to tell us, that the sun wakes us up, you know. So they probably meddled with that story a bit. But
well, that's like all this turned to stone. I mean, what does that actually mean? Like, if everything's energy, does that just mean that they're on a frequency that we can't interact with them, we can't see them, so they literally just look like stone to us, but they're actually
in another
frequency, they're actually still there.
Look at this. The origin of the word gnome is earth dweller and or knowledge. Wow.
Yeah, you're on it. Yeah.
Oh, gnosis.
Yeah, gnosis. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, of course.
And have you guys heard about that monument, that weird monument that got built in like 100 years ago now? It was those stone, it's like a Stonehenge, and it's got all the prophecies on it, but it was built in the 1800s.
The Georgia Guidestones.
Yes. Well, they've got a thing called a gnomon stone. So that's another rabbit hole.
A gnomon stone.
Yeah. All right. And Swiss alchemist Paracelsus was the first one who described them as creatures with magical powers. According to him, gnomes were one of the 4 elements or nature spirits, invisible beings that existed among humans belonging to the earth. They would come out at night to help plants grow. During this period, gnomes were pleonastically called grotesques, and thus were made to be ugly, petite hunchbacks painted in bright colors and usually named by the Italian word gobby. Garden gnomes became widely popular as home ornaments by the beginning of the 18th century. Hello, reset, but mostly for wealthy families only, probably enslaved. The popularity of gnomes persisted thanks to folklore, myths, blah, 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 blah. Okay, the first garden gnome was made in Germany, apparently 19th century.
19th century. So where was everyone getting them in the 18th century when they became popular?
Yep.
Right? That doesn't make sense.
It says
These people can't even write bloody articles that make sense, man.
the 20th century intermittent rise and fall of the gnome. So basically during the war, the popularity of garden gnomes were in decline. What? Oh my God. Anyway, so obviously we've got, but anyway, I've never even looked into gnomes before.
Have a little look. You guys in Australia have got your very own place called Gnomesville.
Gnomesville, do we?
Yeah, in Australia, because I got a download of it.
Gnomesville? What's this?
Gnomesville. Yeah,
Here it is.
And it's so symbolically loaded. There's big oak trees there. It was just, I'll send you some stuff after here, but
it's 30 minutes drive from Bunbury. Oh, it's near Perth. It's near you.
Oh, Bunbury, really? It's
my
down
God,
south?
You've got to go.
Oh yeah, I'll have to.
All right, you got to go to Gnomesville. That's
No,
you got it. Send us all pics.
Yeah. Oh, what? I've never heard of that before.
No, let's see what it looks like. So basically, Campbell, that's your excursion for the week. Oh, look like you'll be presented with. Whoa,
you're going to make a lot of friends.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Say hello to my little friends.
Oh my God. We should have a podcast at Gnomes Village. You should set up the camera and we'll...
Yeah. Maybe I'll have to get a group together and we'll bust down there or something and
and get into some of the I think we need to do a deep dive on gnomes and
I think so. This is because I mean I've been thinking dwarves for a long time, but never really sort of associated with gnomes.
Yeah. So so that's how they kind of said to me what's coming back. They called us because the officials. So I was more than happy to take that.
Wow.
Right,
so we've got gnomes, mushrooms, gardening, dwarves, mining,
John D,
Dawson Mountain,
airships,
Egypt. All right. So a bit of homework for all the watchers.
We've got the mythology around Rumpelstiltskin. He was a little, and then we've got the leprechaun. So we have got gnomes represented, and we've got elves. So and we've got Santa's creepy little elves, but they're all very gnome-like. And then we've got the dwarves from places like Lord of the Rings, where they are the miners. They're all sort of like the same. And the arcturians have the same energetic, or some of them do. So
are they related to gold?
To gnomes or arcturians?
The arcturians.
I don't know. Actually, I haven't heard that. There
seems to be a gold theme definitely running through there. Some kind of mining theme. Or digging and gardening.
That's right. Yeah, they were. In Lord of the Rings, they were digging for gold, weren't they?
Yeah.
This mining,
And the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for the leprechaun.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yes, of course. And then we've got Snow White with the
miners. Yeah,
the mining.
Yeah.
So this gnome concept in our mythology is quite strong. It does play around. I mean, Christmas is all about gnomes and toadstools. The origins of Christmas is all about mushrooms. Have you guys watched the documentaries about Christmas? So it all got modeled off magic mushrooms. And the toadstool.
The red and the white, yeah.
Yeah, the red and the white, the toadstool, the giving the presents, the leaving offerings out for Santa, Satan, the happy little elves that which just feel like me, they've been imprisoned and cloned and made brain dead by Satan Santa.
Yeah, it said in that last picture, it said gnomes also known as pygmies. And what do we find in Hyperborea?
Yes,
pygmies,
hello.
which is the North Pole, right?
Yes.
I'll tell you something else too, because I've just clicked to this, but this mushroom, these mushroom houses?
Yeah.
It's our consciousness house. It's like it's a reference to, it's almost like referencing our conscious, because your house.
Is it a mushroom because mushrooms are all connected underground with psyllium and they're basically an organic internet?
I'm seeing it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm seeing it more like anything where if I get anything through that says your house or new house or home, I always think of our inner dwelling place.
Yeah. Of course.
You know, like that's how I filter that info.
So the mushroom is within us.
So I was thinking, well, the gnome, they live in little mushroom houses. So that's probably, and, if you take magic mushrooms, that, obviously breaks your consciousness open. So it's just something, I don't know, I'm just vibing around
of
that.
Course, yeah. I was
And,
just thinking with all those pictures, Tyrion, he was always the smart sort of good, moralistic kind of person, wasn't he?
And he was a dwarf, and are dwarfs just the generic code of the gnomes? The dwarf DNA that come through the humans, are they the gnome like DNA? And
because we have dwarfs.
We definitely have dwarfs. This is such a cool.
I know we've gone sideways again. How does this keep happening? We keep going sideways.
Oh, you'll come out of it in about a year.
Tell me about it.
This is a weird title. I don't know what this is, but it says demons Euriphaeton. The demon Euriphaeton in his manifestation as king of the pygmies.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
King of the pygmies.
Well, let's have a look. That just looks like a piece of art, though.
That reminds me of something. I don't know what it reminds me of.
I just
the pygmies were the equivalent.
Did you get something from? I don't know what it was.
I got triggered. Yes, I got triggered.
I'm seeing King of the Little People kind of.
Yeah, I did. I've seen it recently.
This title says, in his manifestation as king of the pygmies were the equivalent of the gnomes.
There you go.
From Cambell's Butch 1860.
1860.
So random. So what this is, so basically the pygmies and the gnomes are together.
They're the same.
In this artwork. And if you look at the story of the gnomes, they were the little people. We are the little people comparatively to the giants. There was technology made to enslave them, imprison them, make them sort of uglier than they are, and then turn them to stone basically and imprison them. How that's not dissimilar from our story.
Do you know what else?
What?
We used to have pygmies in Australia.
Yes, exactly.
And they pretty much wiped them out, as far as I know. That you just can't find anything. They used to be there, and now they're not.
And all those tiny little skeletons that have come forward from which we say are fairy skeletons.
Yeah.
So they've found lots of new skeletons.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they've always got kind of biggish heads, which gnomes for their body kind of have biggish heads, don't they?
Let me read you something. Legends of gnomes can be found in almost every European culture. The Norse shared tales of the dwarfs, invisible people that lived underground. There exists no mention of the dwarfs being small of stature. Dwarfs were famous for their skills as craftsmen and smiths. Notably, they forged the weapons of the gods, like Thor's hammer. They also forged the long golden hair of Thor's wife. How one goes about forging hair is another one's guess, blah, blah, blah. Dwarfs were also referred to as black elves due to their characteristic pitch black skin.
What?
They possessed great physical strength as well as potent magical abilities. Later writers would alter the legend to include the now famous short statute.
Well, I've never heard of a black one before.
No,
wow.
Pitch black skin.
Interesting.
All right, sort of no. So that came from the European culture. And then here we've got tall red hats and long white beards characterize these tiny people. Their appearance is reminiscent of the modern garden gnome. They're said to inhabit farmhouses and barns, acting as secret guardians of these places, gatekeepers. They're usually no more than 3 feet tall, but due to their shape-shifting abilities, they can transform into much larger forms. Their powerful illusion magic gives them the ability to turn invisible in an instant. That's probably why you have never seen one. There you go. Then we've got brownies.
Brownies, yeah.
Household spirits that come out at night to perform menial chores around the house, like Dobby in Harry Potter.
Yeah, and remember that old tale. Oh God, what was it? The dress. He was like a dressmaker, and he couldn't finish the king's clothes or something.
Yes.
And the elves came and finished it for him.
Yes.
And they had red and white socks on.
The emperor's yeah, I know the one. I know
You
that
know the one? Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Look, then we've got the leprechaun.
Leprechaun.
Most famous gnomish being. Irish
Gnomish.
folklore, fell asleep on a beach and wakes to find 3 leprechauns dragging him into the surf. This is the king. He easily overpowers his would-be kidnappers and grants them 3 wishes in exchange for their freedom. Commonly, leprechauns are believed to spend their time making and mending shoes. They also have a pot of gold that they hide at the bottom of a rainbow in some form of metaphor.
Mm.
Then we've got the kobolds. Never heard of them.
The what?
The kobolds, Kobolds.
Oh, sounds like Cambell.
That's what I thought. I know.
It does.
The cabals.
All right, so this is
We've got
Germanic
Cambell gnomes.
folklore. Kobolds or cabals spent most of their time invisible like most other gnome-like entities, but have been known to take the form of animals or candles.
Whoa.
They live in homes, mines, or ships, and their look changes depending on where they are. Ship-born kobolds can be seen puffing on pipes while dressed as a sailor. Mine-dwelling kobolds are hunched and ugly. Those kobolds that dwell in human homes wear the discarded garments of the peasantry. And then there's Domovo. Is that how you say it? Domovo.
Russian? Is he a Russian name?
Slavic. Household spirits, Domovo. These household gods protect the family line of those residing in the house. They are the defied progenitors of said bloodline and can manifest themselves as a host of other spirits depending on the specific task it performs in the house. They're particularly concerned with the well-being of the children and animals of a family. So many, oh my God. Then we've got the Asian version. The pygmies.
Everywhere, basically.
Everywhere. Then we've got the Japanese version. Oh my God.
Oh, okay. From the Ainu people, or the
Yep.
Anu, they're the original inhabitants of Japan.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now we've got the Ibu Gogo, Homo florensis. So that's Indonesian. That's the Indonesian gnome.
That's some of the bones that they found, isn't it?
We must be getting
now
to
a monkey.
And then we've got the American gnomes. They're called the Inukan. In the frigid northlands of America, the Alaskan. My God.
So
then
there's a massive narrative here.
The Cherokee people of North America. They've got a gnome.
Oh, God. No.
Oh my God.
So this is obviously indicating it's global, like whatever's
Mexican
global.
Mexican gnomes, Pacific Islands, Native American ones. What are they called? They're called the Menehune. Race of tiny people, 2 feet tall gnomes. They're shy and fun loving. They like to sing and dance. Oh my God.
And you know the story about the gnome.
There's one. The Maori have rich mythology full of fascinating creatures. I can't even read this. Can you read that? The Patupaeri,
is it?
Patupaeri.
Yeah.
Pyre. God.
They're light-skinned, small, and either red or blonde hair.
With no tattoos.
No tattoos. And your fire kept them away.
Blonde hair. So there's a lot of
that's what they look like.
Tales of like fairy type people from New Zealand that were like 3 or 4 foot tall with big blue eyes and long blonde hair that used to live around all the rivers and the tributaries and things.
Yeah.
They'd play the flute and make love to beautiful women.
Oh,
here we go. Is this the here we go. The Woodargy.
Woodargy. Yeah, Woodargy.
Look at them.
I'm feeling mighty steady today.
On the island continent of Australia, the Aboriginal people have an impressive oral history stretching back thousands of years. The Noongar people of Southwest Australia tell the legend of the how did you say it again?
Woodargy.
They look like Aboriginal peasants, except they're 30 centimeters tall.
30, wow.
Oh my God.
Tiny.
And dressed only in a loincloth. traditional hunting tools
Aggressive
like
and have been
spear.
known to attack humans. Oh my God.
So 30 centimeters, that's like
Pretty small.
that's tiny. Gosh,
30. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Wow. Oh my God. Then there's the African gnome, the Boloko.
Oh.
Then there's the South African gnome. Whoa, that's quite a gnome.
Mhm.
And then we've got things like Yoda.
Oh, yes.
Gremlins.
Yoda.
Well, there
Yoda.
you go. That's
Well,
that's a brief
it's-
history of the world's
oh.
gnomes.
Oh.
Holy shit. What a rabbit hole.
Oh, it's a rabbit hole. It's a rabbit hole. So this is why, though, when I get so, I've got to kind of just skim the surface because, you know, and it goes back to the following the synchronicities when it comes through. You know, you can't, I don't try, I just go, you know, but no, really, it was a love, it was a absolutely, I loved that cluster because of I love the fairy tale stuff.
Well,
you know, when I get the fairy
that's
tale
history,
stuff.
right?
Yeah, that's our history.
That's
All
true
that-
history.
Whatever's been told to us as a fairy tale, no, that's an inversion, a fake mimicry, and like absolutely that was a part of our organic consciousness.
That was it.
Yeah.
That's how we live.
100%.
Mm.
Yeah.
So-
We're so lucky to know.
So, all right. So from this, we can potentially add the premise that people are going to be able to start seeing these gnome spirits in their native form around the world, that they are connected to the elementals, the fairy race, that sort of like as the veil lifts, that we are going to start potentially participating more with these mythical, delightful, enchanting, like how magical for all of us into our nonsensical brains, these entities. I remember Ramtha always saying to us, the only reason you guys don't see these things now is because you will be so shocked by seeing something so different from you that you'll reject it. Like until you can get your mind to a place where you're not racist. That's what he kept saying. You think you're
literally against other races.
Exactly. And he's like, you're so programmed to be so racist.
Yeah, we can't even. We struggle in that realm.
Yeah,
you know,
getting on with people that are like us.
I know. I know. But like, I mean, I think that's a program that's been running. Like, obviously, no one here has an issue dealing with other humans and from different cultures and continents. Like, what he was getting at is you would actually, but you're so racist, you're going to be fucking terrified. And because you're going to be so racist and fucking terrified, you'll end up killing them or destroying them or going after them and annihilating them. So you can't see them. You're in quarantine, human race, until you wake up. But I feel like we may be there now. Like, I think we're going to start to, I wouldn't be surprised. Nothing would surprise me if I woke up at the end of my day.
And obviously we're going to become, because this has been quite big too, we're going to get in touch with our magical selves. So all of that hidden, magic stuff that's been, we've been cacked or we've been axed down at the trunk. That's all going to come back as well.
Fuck yes.
Definitely.
I mean, magic is waking up here in Australia, Angela. We can tell you that for sure. It is waking up, and there are thousands of people flocking to this idea that magic is arising and awakening in the heart of the realm here in Australia. We know it. We feel it. We're championing it. It's like, it is all around us right now. Nothing is stable. Nothing is as it appears. Everything's an illusion. Magic is waking up. And when we realize it's actually within our perception, when we realize that we are the magicians, we are the magicians.
We are the magicians. We are the magicians.
We are the magicians. We've been waiting.
We are the magicians. That's been just so huge for me. They just hammered and hammered and hammered with, we are the wizards. We are it's us.
It's us.
And it's us.
Bring out
and we just have to anchor in, like, it's getting a bit toxic out there, but you just anchor into the light. That's it. We know what's coming.
But if you're a wizard, it doesn't matter what's going on outside.
Doesn't matter.
Because you're a wizard, right?
Yeah.
Change stuff. And that's the
Well,
thing. If you understand you can change stuff, then you can. If you think you can't, well,
Yeah.
you're stuck in this paradigm, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
At least we
No
give it a
choice.
go. We give it a go enough times that like people after us like get it first time. You know, like
Yeah.
that analogy of evolution, you know, like someone ran faster to get out of the way of the predator and the next generation just were faster.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we're
Yeah.
gonna be that trailblazing indigo fucking like cutting edge thinkers that are going to go and trailblaze that course and just do it enough, and fuck, even if we fail, the ones that come after us will get it first time.
I literally, about 5 minutes before I got online to you guys, I wrote a message to, because this is the theme at the moment, I wrote a message to my girlfriend and I just said, we are the pioneers. So we're almost first wave, right? First wave, we're blazing the trail. I actually use those words. We're blazing the trail. And yes, you're right. The second wave might have it a little bit easier than we've had it, because we've been obviously in the first generation to really wake up. But
This
we are
reset.
the pioneers of new earth.
Spell breakers.
Absolutely. It's absolutely true. So, Angela, when you came on, you said you had a message for us.
Oh, well, it's just I got a really big synchronicity with your name this morning.
Oh my! All right. Yep.
Huge. So I'll share it. God, I've gone this far, right?
Yeah.
I'll share it, but what I'll do is I'll send you the image, because you need to see the imagery of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just loosely explain a little bit. So I've got a company down the road from me, which this has kind of kicked off this Crystal City Sinks, right? This was the not Ange, but the company down the road is actually called the Telos Group.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had sink after sink. Once that came in, it was all on like Donkey Kong. And I had to meet just recently. I won't actually say her name, but I've had this woman come into my life that's newly awakening, but she's like a duck to water. Anyway, she asked me to meet her down there. She had to go and see someone. So I went down. She had parked right under this Telos sign. When she did that, I just got this barrage of stuff about her. So I've been supporting her awakening process, but she's tuned for it, you know? So anyway, that's fine. I've got photos. That's all been this Telos group. So I went out today and I drove down and I saw the building next to it. And the building, it's right next to the sign. I'll send you the imagery, but it's called the Kelly Club. But
has it got graffiti sprayed all over it saying fuck?
Yeah. And badly drawn penises. From the 80s.
But it was even the club thing I've been getting a lot of, you know, and so I was already on the club and I've been talking about the boys club and they're starting a new club, and so I've already been all over that very recently. But yeah, I'll send you the images because it's easier to visualize.
Yeah.
But you're right. I nearly drove off the road. Of course.
Club, wow.
Well, we are forming our version of something here. I tell you, that's truth. Like, it definitely feels like wherever we go with all of this, more than any other topic that we've engaged, like, we're right on the cusp of this beautiful, gorgeous unfolding, and it's such a lotus flower. It's such an interconnected community, human consciousness unfolding, and like we're so in this together. And I know as Cambell and I take this, attempt to get to the desert at Christmas time, which is coming up really quickly.
I know, right?
Woo, you're getting freaked. I'm getting freaked.
What day are you guys going?
Well, we haven't even set those terms yet. We've just been like, we wanted to be there for the 21st.
Solstice, is the sort of day.
Yeah. Are you going over Christmas?
Well,
I'm going to send you another photo of something else I got today, but I need to send the imagery so you can see it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is the thing. We just sort of put this out there, 3 weeks ago, if that. And we've just been getting so many synchronicities and people contacting us and confirmations and all this stuff. And the story keeps expanding. When we've been talking about music and then musical keys, and do we need the keys? Are we looking for a key? And now we talk about gnomes, and they're the gatekeepers with the keys.
Yeah, there we
It's like, hello.
I know. It's like it's honest. I can't kind of. This is how I feel. Like it's a done deal.
For sure.
Because in this time right now, there's a club of people, a club of the light, destined to find it.
Yeah.
It's this. It's not next generation. It's this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's time for us to go home for a bit. Like it feels
Definitely.
like it's time, and whether from that perspective we choose to come back and help, like, you know, help other people and other teach through this, like that's a choice we get to make in our sovereignty. But I do feel it's time that we've been here a long time, and it's time for us to go home for a bit. We've got families there. We've got lives that we've like jumped out of to do this insane thing. I don't even know what it is we've done, or I don't even know. Like, we don't even know the breadth and grasp of this story at all.
So are you guys just going to you're going to Hearts Range, correct?
We're gonna.
We're not sure, but that's kind of the direction at the moment. But we're gonna.
Yeah, that's where you're heading.
It's completely. Yeah. We just want it to unfold organically, and
amazing.
We're just looking for signs and to be led to where we're supposed to be.
Yeah,
we'll choose a date to meet up somewhere obvious. It was going to be Alice Springs. It's the most obvious, but they're pretty vaxxed to the max. There, we might just choose to meet at Hearts Range and just start from there. Just like. And really, we probably just need to meet one night and dance the whole night and sing and talk around the fire and corroboree, and then just wake up in the morning and see what is ahead of us.
See what happens, yeah.
Well, for what it's worth, guys, I just think it's absolutely so beautiful. Are you guys having the idea to do that? Be backing it up. It's honestly nearly bringing tears to my eyes.
Thank you.
Yeah, really. It's so gorgeous.
Well, I definitely think, obviously, Cambell and I will live feed it from our different directions, because we're coming in from totally opposite sides of Australia. So we'll document our journey, and it'll be live on our Facebook, and I'm sure there'll be thousands and thousands of people watching, because no one's going to know what's going to happen.
No. And hopefully, like, as we go, people will just randomly go, I'm going to join them, and we'll just have this constant stream of people coming.
I would absolutely love to go. But I can't even
imprisoned
get to
in the
Australia
stable
right
over there.
Yeah,
I can't get to Australia.
At this point, I can't even cross the border. So, but fuck that.
But I mean, this is the thing. We don't care. That's not going to stop us. That's manslaughter.
Well, maybe the ship does different pickups. He'll pick up from New Zealand.
Maybe it'll pick us all up, drop us in the middle.
Oh, then we'll just look down, and there will be a gnome with the New Zealand accent, and we'll be like, we're on to you, Angela. All right, guys. Well, I think that's been a fantastic deep dive into an unexpected gnomey topic. I feel like I want to push all that gnome stuff up to the beginning of the conversation and just like pique people's brain out. Honestly, I've never seen it covered with the Tartarian world, and
I might just whack a quick thing together.
I'll send you what I've kind of dug out, kind of my end as well. If you want to kind of keep researching it,
I think we should.
Definitely needs to be brought out. Yeah.
And I'm also going to send you this Telos building.
Cool.
Your name right on the bloody sign. I thought it was beautiful. So I'll send that over as well.
All right. Well, any last words, Cambell? Anything you'd like to add?
No. I just, I mean, look at what's happening, guys. We're obviously on the right path, clearly. We've been given hints, we've been given directions, we're being sent all these amazingly beautiful people to tell us more of the story. And yeah, so jump on board. And it's time to definitely, you know, this whole, you know, fifth dimension, it's accessing the creative side of your, you know, the imagination, the nonsensical, if you want, basically, because we've got to rise above the story they've given us clearly, which is the nonsense. So nonsense is actually getting back to sense, I think.
Yeah. Sense. Back to innocence.
Innocence, the inner, sensing from inside, inner sense, instead of having no sense.
I couldn't have said it better. That's a perfect summary. And the only thing I want to say is I'm just so excited for what's coming. Like,
yes, are we?
So excited. Like, I just am like, I can't wait. It's been the eternal golden carrot, but it's just so close.
It is.
So I think we can all agree there. Yeah, beautiful stuff.
Well, rock stars, awesome. Thank you for joining us, Angela. Pleasure. And fucking everyone have the best fucking day ever. And
great to meet you, Angela.
Lovely to meet you too. All right. Thanks for having me.